Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna do this video about death and what I've experienced, like dealing with it, and just crap like that, right? Okay. So this didn't affect me until obviously as I got older. Obviously, I've experienced like people passing away, but there was four deaths that kind of impacted a lot of what I deal with. Perhaps five. No, I'm going to say five. Jesus Christ, that's too many. That's too much. Wish it was a smaller number. Okay, so the first death that really bothered me um, was a guy that I was stationed with in the military. He got killed by a drunk driver. Okay, I think he was like 19 or 2. We were all young. We are all on the ship. And I think it was around maybe 2001 ish, and he was killed by a drunk driver. Okay, so that was one where I was just like, where someone was right next to me, like we're laughing. He was real clumsy too, right? Real nice guy, and you think of all people, why did it happen to him, right? Um, uh, it just because he was. We were working together for 4 hours. We had a 4 hour watch together. Okay. And I remember there were like a few other people, and we were just all joking around. And then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, I think he got killed by a drunk driver. No, I didn't. Like he got killed, but I'm thinking it was 2 days later. That's what I'm saying. Um, okay. So I think he was like 19 years old when he died. Okay. So then you're going to have, and that was a non-combat related incident too. Okay, so the second one was my aunt. Okay, it would have been my great aunt, my grandpa's sister. She got Parkinson's with a diabetic coma. So she just, I know something was awkward because I would call her up, and then she was like, "How's the army doing? Is the army treating you good?" And I'm like, Aunt, I'd say her name, Aunt Netta. I'm in the Navy. I've been in the Navy for at the time like 15 years or something. Yeah, I'm in the army, and then just little things like that. And then out of nowhere, like one day, she didn't know who I was, and then eventually she passed away. Like I called her and my stupid ass cousin. I guess these are long distance cousins that I never really met, but they were with her, and instead of them screening the call saying like, "Who is this?" My aunt just said like, "I don't know who that is," and then one of my fat fucking cousins was like, "Yeah, she doesn't know who you are." And I could have been like, "I'm Tony. I'm her nephew." Like I would call her every day for all these years, right? Just stupid fucking people. But if you're dumb and you're Italian, that's even fucking worse. Okay, you could be dumb and black, dumb and Mexican, dumb any other, dumb Asian, whatever. But don't be dumb and Italian. Use your heart. Your heart will kind of carry you over. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. So another time. Um, okay, so then it was my mother passing the next uh three. No, was that would have been I think 3 years later. My mother ended up passing away from a brain aneurysm. Okay, so that what that taught me was you you truly never know when someone could just uh, go out any moment. Like that, I felt that one. My father's passing in January. He died. I think he was like seven. No, he would have been 71. 71. He's 71 when he passed. So to me, he lived at least somewhat of an older life, right? My mother was in her 50s when she passed, early 50s. No, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. No, I got her and my aunt deaths wrong. Sorry. My mother would have been in her late 50s when she passed away. So, um, so anyways, yes, so many people are getting knocked off in my life that I'm forgetting dates and Okay, so the worst death was my best friend. Okay, so it was Thanksgiving, and we were supposed to spend. I thought I was gonna rotate. I was gonna spend some time with some friends for a couple hours, and then give him a call and go hang out with him and his family for a couple hours. Kind of say I'll eat turkey here and I'll eat dessert over there, right? Um, and I called him and his phone was turned off, and I go, something ain't right. So the next day on the 26th of November, I called his mother. I said, hey, your son hasn't answered his phone. We were supposed to meet up for Thanksgiving. And then she goes, you didn't hear the news? My son died of a heart attack. And I'm like, and then she says, yeah, his right now the funeral is going to be, um, it's undecided, because they still got to do an investigation. I'm like, geez, and I'm hearing this on the phone. I'm like, so like about a month later, his funeral was 2 days after Christmas. So I went to his funeral, and you know when you okay, you know when people cry at a funeral and they don't want to see the body leave, like they're holding on to the body, they don't want to see the body get buried. Usually it's family members that are screaming. Well, that actually happened to me. It was a Catholic funeral, and it's open caskets, right? Usually Catholic funerals are usually long, and it's open. It's an open casket, and he's in there, right? And I don't even want to look at him. Okay, it don't look like him. It don't. He's swollen. I know they got to do the more with the mortuary, the makeup, and all the hair, even the haircut, right? Um, I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. And you know what was weird? When my aunt passed away, her funeral was in Cleveland, and her daughters, which I can't stand, and granddaughters, but even they were like looking at her and say, "Oh, you look good. Like she looks good." I'm like, "What the fuck? Are you looking at a fucking dead person and say, oh, she looks good?" And they even talk, "Oh, Annette, you look good." I'm like, what fucking cuckoo we got here, right?" So my friend, obviously, he didn't look good. I think his body was kept around too long, like a month after he died, and he was all freaking swollen. And but I end up being one of the uh, is it the pallbearers where you carry the casket? So I end up carrying the casket with like I think six other people. And I go, I can't believe he's in here. Like he's like I'm holding him up, right? And then like the priest wore a fucking mask, and he didn't know who my friend even was. He never went. My friend went to Catholic school his whole life. This motherfucker just came from. He was like a retired priest doing this ringy dingy fucking Catholic ceremony. So they asked if anybody wanted like to speak, and I knocked it out the park. Even I don't know how I didn't cry in front of all the, and he was well loved. He was Mr. Toastmasters. He was an engineer for the government, all types of shit, man. He was loved. He had people. I even think like that too. Like if I die, like ain't no one even gonna show up to my funeral, right? But I'm so happy that people loved my best friend like myself, and we were able to show up to the funeral, right? All these, that's what I got. Like the amount of people that love you, they'll show up to your funeral. That's what I learned too about death, right? If no one wants to show up to your funeral, you weren't loved enough. Unfortunately, it sucks. I hope everyone that's watching this, you guys have people at your funeral if you decide to have one. But anyways, so they don't bury the. It was the first time I ever went to a funeral and the coffin wasn't buried. Like they said, yeah, just leave it there. We'll bury it later. So now he's on top of this fucking hill, my best friend. So we go to this restaurant called the El Chorrito, right? And yeah, the food was good. I got to speak to his parents. They told me you did an amazing job speaking, Tony. And like maybe like an hour goes by, and we're talking about my best friend with his friends, family. We're talking about other things too to kind of distract us a little bit. Then I noticed that little by little people are leaving. You know, there's other two people leave. Then I noticed that his parents get up and go. And I was just trying to hold on to something. I didn't want to leave El Torito because I felt like that was the complete closure, that my friend's gone, and that's the acceptance. Uh, so I was the last person to leave El Torito, right? And I didn't want to leave to the point where like I even talked to the freaking to the it's pretty much like a catering room that we were in. I was talking to like the Hispanic chef, the waitresses. I just stayed there and I tipped them all. I tipped them. I think I must have gave like 5 or 6 employees from El Torito like I said I had to disperse my money, right? So I must have tipped everyone like between $5 and $7. Okay. It was just I didn't want to leave. And then finally I walked out and I'm like, it's completely over. My friend's legacy is just what it was. Like the funeral was the last bit that I had any part of him. His memories, right? His family. He looked exactly like his mother and father. You can see his father's features and you can see his mother's features. Um, that one hit me the most is when my best friend passed away. I didn't need that. I didn't need that shit. But all right, man. I'll tell you guys later. Bye.